Hello everybody, welcome to Deluxe Collectibles, and today I'm going to be discussing all of the LEGO Ninjago Seabound characters that we didn't end up receiving as actual minifigures, and kind of talk about the chances of us receiving those characters as figures at some point in the future. Now keep in mind, I'm not going to be including any previous characters that we've already seen in previous seasons, so characters such as Antonia, who we saw in a previous season, and ones such as that I'm not going to be including, and also Niad as well. I won't be including on the list, even though she is technically a new character. I won't be including her considering the style of animation that she's in for the flashback sequence isn't your typical Ninjago animation, so that's why I won't have this one on the list. And I also won't be discussing any inaccurate figures, because arguably NRG Nia is a bit more of an inaccurate figure, but I won't be discussing potentially getting a more show accurate version of that figure. So I'm going to only be discussing solely new characters introduced in this season. So without further ado, let's get straight into it. And the first character that I'm going to be going over here is one of the ones who appears in actually episode 1, and it is Misdemeanor. I'm sure you could have guessed this character was going to end up on my list here, and it's because, I'm including all of the new characters that we didn't wind up receiving new minifigures of, at least the more major characters, I suppose. If there was a background character that I missed or something, I do apologize for that, but Misdemeanor is definitely a fantastic looking minifigure, within the actual show. She looks amazing, has such a great personality as well, and played a pretty big role within that episode, I would say, so we could potentially end up seeing her return at some point in the future. I definitely think, kind of tying into the sort of Vengestone storyline that they've been building up, I definitely think there's a possibility of seeing her character once again as well, and maybe getting her in a future wave also. So I think she's definitely a really great looking figure, really unique design as well. I like seeing that when they do it just with even one-off villains such as this one. I like getting to kind of see them make a sort of cool looking design like this that is memorable. I mean, she appeared in episode 1 and I still remember her character, so that just proves how great of a design it is. So I would definitely like to see that one as a figure at some point in the future. And then the next character that we have here is Gripe, of course, one of the main ones that people have been wanting, and mainly because it was just so close to us getting it, because of course we have all of the other Mirai Guards or Merlopians or Hydro Whippers, whatever you would like to call them, and of course you could probably just use the same mold as those characters for Gripe and then just change the color, of course, to the more limeish green or yellowish color depending on the lighting of what scene he's in. But I felt like he was a more pivotal character, so it was honestly kind of surprising that we didn't wind up receiving him, because we get a few Mirai Guards in a few of the sets from the Seabound wave, so it's kind of just weird that they wouldn't want to have an exclusive figure like that within maybe one of the larger sets. So it's a bit more of a weird one. I would say it's not one that I'm absolutely broken up about. I would say I would want a Misdemeanor figure more than this one personally, just because she's such a more of a unique design, I would say, and that's kind of not the case with Gripe. It's kind of similar to the other Mirai Guards, so it doesn't feel as necessary, but I wouldn't say no to a new character in minifigure form, so it's definitely one that I would like to end up seeing at some point in the future. And now the final character here. I know it's a bit more of a shorter list, but they honestly did a great job with Seabound of including all of the pivotal characters from the season in minifigure form, but the main one here is King Trimarr, and even though I know he has an untimely demise in the actual season fairly early on, I would say, but he is such a cool character. I really did like his relationship with Benthamar, and then also with Kalmar as well. There was of course more conflict in that relationship, but nonetheless he was a very interesting character for the short amount of time that we got to see him on screen, especially the flashback episode with Benthamar. That was really cute to see. So he has a really great design, definitely quite similar to Kalmar, of course, makes a lot of sense, but I think he does look pretty cool in his own right. I definitely like his crown design and sort of just his more royal looking uniform, I suppose. So definitely there are some differences there between him and Kalmar, so it would be cool to eventually see him as a minifigure. Now personally, I think he's the one who has the lowest chance. I would say the same for Gripe as well. Misdemeanor, I would say we have a higher chance of, just because there is the potential of her returning in the future, and of course for Gripe there is as well, I suppose. But with King Trimarr, I mean, he's deceased within the series, so unless it's some sort of flashback and then it brings him into relevance once again within the story, then I don't think there's much possibility for that, at least in the near future. There definitely is potential if they can continue to do the legacy line and like Ninjago continues on for maybe another 10 years, let's say, then eventually we will wind up getting Seabound legacy sets, I'm sure, so there is always potential for that, but that's talking way down the line. So more like stuff that's in the near future, I would say Misdemeanor has the highest chance, and it's definitely the one that I would like to see the most in minifigure form. But that's about everything I have to say for this video here. There are definitely some really cool characters that they did wind up doing in minifigure form from Seabound. I would honestly say they really nailed it with all of the ones that they decided to do. And I mean, look, you know you've got a pretty good list here when you're only having to list 3 characters in the video that they ended up missing. I can think of other seasons where we missed quite a few more characters in those, and I might wind up doing videos just in general of Ninjago characters that I think we should receive in minifigure form at some point in the future, but I wanted to cover Seabound more here because it's more topical at the moment, I would say. But yeah, definitely some really cool characters that I would like to see at some point in the future, but be sure to let me know if I missed any by chance, or if there's any other characters that you would like to see in minifigure form even outside of Seabound as well. Just let me know down below. I'm happy to start a discussion about all of that, because there are quite a few characters I can think of off the top of my head that people would love to see in minifigure form. But thanks so much for watching the video. If you did enjoy, be sure to leave a like, also subscribe as well if you would like to check out my other content. That would be highly appreciated, so thank you so much. I'll see you all next time, and always remember, keep on collecting.